Joining me now, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Rajya Sabha MP, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Also joining us, Kiran Kher, member of the BJP. Kiran Kher, let me come to you first. Sushma Swaraj today said that there needs to be firmer action. There needs to be the death penalty against those who rape children. Now, in the new laws which have been introduced, the possibility of the death sentence already exists in extreme cases. But does Sushma Swaraj now mean that if a child is raped, then there must always be the death penalty in most cases, which is the punishment?
Vishnu, first I'd like to say that when the Nirbhaya case happened, I made a conscious decision to stay away from all television debates because I felt it was completely a helpless situation to be in. And I felt, being on English television channels, I was preaching to the converted who already knew that this was not the right thing to do. Today, I have come to be on your show because there are certain things I want to talk about. And of course, when you ask me what Sushma ji has said, I agree with her completely. And I think it is horrific. You can't even say they behave like animals because animals do not rape their little ones. In fact, animals do not rape at all. So there is a sickness of mind and mentality here which needs to be addressed. And I think a very sharp, quick sentence should be executed, and this, when it's a clear open and shut case, I don't think we need to extend the, that every citizen has a right to a fair trial, because if they're caught on camera, or if you know that this is the girl has been found from this guy's flat, you know all that. Yes. I think you should be much quicker in implementing what Sushma ji has said, a death sentence.
Dr. Singhvi, do you agree with what Sushma ji has said in this death penalty for those who rape children?
Let me make my stand clear in a few very quick points. First of all, I'm forced to sound defeatist because I don't think any change in the law, any reform in the system, any change in structures can cure the outcome and result of such diseased mind. This is something which is beyond comprehension. It is something which is cruel, barbaric, inhuman treatment. And I think at the end of the day, it depends on the level of disease a person has. These things will keep on happening if this disease is there. And I think nothing can cure it. I'm sorry to sound defeatist. Having said that, at an individual level, let me clarify, I was opposed to the death penalty in the Nirbhaya case and generally because of two statistical reasons. One is, death penalty sounds great but is very difficult to implement. And secondly, the court is inclined to give the benefit of doubt where the penalty is death on the conviction itself. But having said so in the Nirbhaya time, seeing the very cruel, inhuman, aggravating circumstances of cases like this, I think a correct via media would be to provide for death where the judge finds additional cruel, aggravating, inhuman circumstances, and this case certainly qualifies for that, and to that extent I will agree with Sushma ji. In other words, where there is a child of a certain age, below a certain age, where what we read in the press, I can't even repeat it, where you have issues like candles and foreign material found and recovered, where you have this inhuman degree of treatment, then I think certainly a exception can be made and a power can be given to the judge to excise that.
And Dr.
Thirdly,
Singhvi,
I have no hesitation in saying very quickly that departmental proceedings must start with suspension, but it must lead within 3 months to a final decision on the officer concerned, who is supposed to have had the temerity to try to treat this as a routine case and to have a monetary angle to it. Fourthly, it must lead to a separate criminal proceeding against that entire police setup in that particular area, which allowed this to happen. And fifthly, of course, I have no doubt in the Nirbhaya thing itself, we have the same fast track courts, so this should not take more than 3 to 4 months, which is a fair crack of the whip.
And Dr. Singhvi, just very briefly, again what Sushma Swaraj has called for, an all-party meeting, a meeting of senior leaders to discuss how this provision of rape in the case of children being assaulted should be brought into the system. Do you feel that this needs to be done really soon, that there needs to be this all-party meeting which Sushma ji has called for?
I think certainly there can be no two views about a getting together of the political element, and Parliament is around the corner now, so this all-party meeting should be a given. But what is important is that having already strengthened the law of rape generally to the extent of the Nirbhaya case in the last few months, we certainly make out a subset category, because this is not rape. This is some kind of a very, very special crime against children. And it has those barbaric elements which elevate it even beyond any rape.
Yeah.
So for that subset of crimes, whether a child or handicapped or completely helpless situation, a person is raped, I think, yes, the punishment should be enhanced on the basis of aggravating circumstances, which judges are entitled to fully evaluate and give in a particular facts of a particular case.
Okay, Kiran Khed, just reflect on a couple of things. Now, these are statistics compiled from the National Crime Records Bureau. 48,338 child rape cases from 2001 to 2011, with a 336% increase of child rape cases from 2001 to 2011. Maybe more cases were being reported. But 48,338 child rape cases, all right, that's a statistic. In just the last 48 hours, 2 5-year-olds, as we've been talking about, surviving, struggling at the All India Institute. There was a 6-year-old raped and murdered in Aligarh. As we speak, another 5-year-old is being airlifted from Madhya Pradesh to Nagpur, right? That child in critical condition, and 3 minor girls allegedly raped in Mumbai in the last little bit more than 24 hours. You know, I mean, it's cliche to say, what have we come to? What is our society like? Something must change. But how do you reflect on these facts?
This is just what has been reported. You can you imagine what's not yet reported? Most cases don't get reported. I mean, the actuality of these heinous crimes is far larger than that. I attribute this to the mindset of the Indian male, or should I say the male on the Indian subcontinent. And you know, it's years and years and years and decades of keeping people completely uneducated, on the fringes of poverty, the divide between the haves and the have-nots. Finally the chickens are coming home to roost. And it's only going to get uglier, because you have generations of people out there who have treated women in the most disgusting manner possible. What we need to do is, I remember, Vishnu, I've gone to convent schools all my life. We used to have a moral science class. It is extremely important that right from village level, they are given classes in being good citizens, in being good human beings, and this has to be taken up immediately so that the coming generations can be aware of what these people, most of them, don't respect women even in their everyday lives. And look at what some of the protesters are saying.
You know
Dr. Manmohan Singh, chudiyan pehen lo.
You know
very
what
sexist remark.
Absolutely.
What do you mean chudiyan pehen lo?
That's at the heart. That sexism is at the heart of this violence. It's one of this innate sense of sexism which exists. It's so pathetic now that there are people who've been SMSing, and I mentioned this on the show last night, that perhaps there need to be signboards across the country that say rape is illegal, because maybe people don't know that enough. But I'm sorry, I'm going to have to end this over here. We are going to be discussing this more and more through the days. I think it's important to reflect also on what Sonia Gandhi said today. Less talk, more action. That action must start.